in the Pacific Northwest. Oh, for those of you in Portland, I'm going to get a little bit radio-ish here. Some of you know me as the radio guy in Portland, right? So it's starting to get cold. It's going to start snowing. So that means that the national news will get photos of us and images and videos of us trying to drive around in this stuff. So we go to Portland, Oregon, where somebody slid down a hill. So please, if you're in Oregon, I don't think they're going to get hit in Seattle. So I heard that things are much better up in Seattle. So if you are in Oregon, please, please, please stay safe, hunker down, and just do your thing. You notice here that we have this beautiful photo of one of our member agencies, our members, Broadhead. I'm going to bring Jamie in here in a second. But one of the things that we do as an organization, one of the most important things for us at Think Northwest is raising the visibility of our members. Whether that's here within the community, whether that's outside of the Pacific Northwest, our goal is to create a unified community that comes together, and we let the rest of the world know that we're here so that we can grow your people, grow your business. And we're super excited to announce a few new members, one in Seattle, one in Boise. We'll be announcing that next week. So we're excited to share that with you. And this is a new era for this organization. Some of you might know us formerly as the Portland Advertising Federation. It is very different than what you're used to and what you experienced in the past. It's an exciting time, and we'd love for you to join us, to join this the mission of advancing the business impact of bold creative thinkers in the Pacific Northwest. Go to ThinkNW.org. And you can connect with me directly, Zanger, Zanger, at ThinkNW.org. These member check-ins I love doing. We've had several of them so far. And I'm going to bring Jamie in right now. So, managing director of Broadhead here in Portland. And, listen, first of all, thank you for the invite. You had a great opening celebration and gala. And there are some people who might be familiar with the space. It's over in Northwest. It's, it's near Wyden. It's on Northwest 13th. And it's in a great part of town. Some of you might remember it as the former RGA building. But you put your own spin on it. And I mean, it's just such a great space. Talk a little bit about why that space is, is so amazing.
We love it. Feel real fortunate to be in this space. It was set up. RGA had a great space previously already set up, and I think it's just right in the heart of Pearl, in the Pearl. And we believe in Portland, and we believe in having people together. It's really important to us as an organization that we are together. We're together 3 days a week, every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And we wanted to be downtown. We wanted to be, where it's busy, and we did. We had an amazing open house. Thank you for coming.
Oh, it was great.
Helping to promote it.
The food was fantastic, by the way. Who is the caterer again?
We had the taco place. That was right next to us. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's all right. Emily will text us and remind us of what it was.
Yeah, it was a taco place just a couple of doors down. And, and then we had there was a caterer also that handled all the bartending that the name is escaping me as well.
That's okay. No. We'll Emily will probably text us and say it's this, and this. So then we'll make sure that we give proper credit and props to them. So now I'd like, before we get started on the agency, I'd love for people to get to know you a little bit more, because you've been around a minute. You've done a few things here and there. So tell us a little bit about your journey and how you now landed at this beautiful place, which is Broadhead as managing director.
Awesome. I moved out to Portland a long time ago, late 90s, and I went to work at Wyden. Probably, that early on in my career was like one of the best jobs I've ever had. I was hired as an account executive to work on ESPN. It didn't get much better than that. Right. And I fell in love with the city. I met my eventual wife first day on the job there. She was working at Wyden at the time too.
Right.
I was there for a little over 3 years. And then I left the industry for about 8, 9 years, and I moved back to New York City to work in the apparel business, manufacturing, importing, and wholesaling women's outerwear. True story. You can look it
Okay.
up, Komitor Coats online.
Okay. All right.
And then in 2009, my wife and I, we had 2 kids, both born in New York City, and we moved back to Portland. And I got back in at Wyden. I was there for about little over 5 years, working on all sorts of things: Target, American Express, Procter and Gamble, some of the Olympic work that Wyden was doing at the time. And then I moved over to an agency in town called Swift.
Yep.
Social agency.
Yeah, great agency.
Yeah, they're awesome. I was there for 8.5 years and met a lot of amazing people, worked with some really good talent, learned a lot about the social space. I saw you had Aaron Feiger on, last time for an agency.
Yeah.
And he and I did some work together. He's a great guy, really talented. So I was there for 8.5 years. And then this opportunity came across. I was introduced to Dean Broadhead by a woman who used to work at Swift named Britta Larson. Britta connected me to Dean, and a couple months later, here I am.
All right. So let's take a look here because there's a lot of goodness here. So let's talk about the agency. And as a reminder, you're in Portland. The agency is based in Minneapolis, my hometown. Oh, Papi Chulos. That's the
Thank
that's
you.
it. And then Blue Star Donuts. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank
you,
you,
Randy.
So you have the HQ in Minneapolis. We have the office in Portland, and then also in Charlotte as well. So a very interesting mix of
and now Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, look at that. And and here's the thing that I love. And it's it's interesting. Putting a little bit of the elephant in the room here. You worked at Wyden, you worked at Swift. I used to be at Adweek and at the Drum. And, there are agencies that tend to get a little bit more visibility and exposure. Again, mentioning that it's really critical for us to continue to raise the visibility of our members in the industry at large here in the Pacific Northwest. But, the thing is when you go to an agency like yours and you go to their site and you start really kicking into this a little bit, you just see the sheer great work, great clients. Some of them are not household names nationally or globally, but they're important to the market. They're hugely important to the market. So, I'm just scrolling through here. So tell us a little bit about the history of the agency. And it does have a really rich history in agriculture and in some very key verticals that people might not necessarily think of. But I mean, look at this work. Look at this. I mean, it's beautiful.
So the agency is, again, like you said, based in Minneapolis, probably about 21, 22 years old, roots in PR and strong agricultural roots, but has done a lot of work through, just market expansion, exposure, and acquisitions to expand into some other categories. So the 3 categories we really focus on are Eat, Move, Live, is sort of how we talk about.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Focused on brands who are really transforming how we eat, move, live in society today. And, the agriculture side of the business is both, is on the eat side of the business, as well as a lot of our retail clients that we work with in the food space. You saw Good Foods, Bushel Boy, Good to Grow, or some of the other brands we work with. And then on the move side is obviously transportation and Daimler Truck. That was, HMH, formerly HMH here in Portland and Charlotte. That was part of an acquisition.
Right.
And a lot of Daimler Truck business, but also other brands in the space. So Norfolk Southern, the Daimler Truck brands that we work with, Freightliner, Detroit. We did a bunch of work for Western Star, Thomas Bell Buses. We're working with another company now called Cummins.
Yeah, know it well. Yeah, absolutely.
So a lot of work in the transportation space. And then, of course, in the live space is, intention a little bit broad, but allows us to play in space in retail, in lifestyle, healthcare. So some other categories that we're working with now.
Yeah. And here's what's interesting too. We talked a little bit about your experience. And it's interesting to me when you move into an agency that specializes, and again, I worked for the Martin agency. So, we worked for and as you know, these big global consumer brands, I'm always interested when people come from that background and then go to an agency like this that is specializing in some of the key areas. What are some of the things that you learned from your time at Wyden and Swift that you believe is really beneficial for not necessarily just growing the Broadhead brand and growing the business, but growing the people as well?
Obviously culture. I
Sure.
mean, culture and the talent experience is so important to sort of building an environment that people want to be at and that people want to come to do great work. Certainly, Wyden and Swift were both creatively led agencies and agencies where there was so much emphasis on the quality of the product that we did, the consumer insight that led to the great work that was emotionally resonant with people. I think one of the big lines we always talked about at Wyden was the importance of building emotional connections between brand and the consumers, and that was one of my obviously one of my biggest takeaways from that place is just the importance of work that is emotionally resonant and makes people feel something. I think that's when I talk about great work, for me, it's always about work that makes you feel something, whatever that feeling might be. It can make you laugh, it can make you cry, but it makes you think and it makes you feel something, and it immediately brings a connection to you and a brand in a pretty special way.
Yeah. So speaking of special,
Thank you.
I mean, that's no small praise.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that.
I know 2023 was a banner year for the agency. And I think, this is one bit of recognition, but there were several, points of recognition for the agency in 2023. This, I think, is one we're probably most proud of for putting purpose ahead of profit. And I think it's really, speaks to the work that the agency has done, whether from a DEI standpoint, from a sustainability standpoint, our partnership with Brand Lab. There's a lot of work that the agency has done to earn this. And I think the agency is really proud of it.
Yeah, and as a reminder, Brand Lab is an organization in Minneapolis that does amazing work with talent. So yeah, and being a native Minnesotan, I pay attention to those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I want to dig in because you became AOR. Let me find the screen for this. Where did you go? There we go. Let's take a look at this. Let's talk about this.
Cravings.
Yes. So tell us how this all happened.
Great brand. It's relationships. So this is a relationship from the head of our engaged department, knows somebody that works over there. And, that's how this, that's how the best work, I think, starts, and the best relationships get kicked off is through connections and through just networking. And that's the way this came to be. And it's been a lot of fun. The agency's has done a lot of work in social in 2023.
Right.
And this is a big part of the social work that we're doing is our cravings work. Here you could see it's just like focusing on building community and having fun in the sort of lifestyle and baking category.
Right. Remember, it's supposed to be fun, everybody. So
it's a great brand. It's some great products.
It really is. No, it is. And no, I was very fortunate to introduce Kirsty Teigen at a Brand Week conference several years ago when I was at Adweek. It was great. So in terms of you'd mentioned that, doing a bit more in social, I'm curious about, what that breakdown looks like, because you are full service, you're creative, you're strategic, you have all of these really strong pieces that you have put together. What does the breakdown look like in terms of where you might, where you might have a little bit more emphasis? Maybe I'm just curious about what that looks like, or is it spread out fairly evenly?
I'd say we do social for probably 30 to maybe about 40% of the brands that we work with in the
scoped in for that.
Yeah, we do social work for specifically. And, social is it's one of those categories that it really depends on what what the brand's trying to accomplish. I mean, there's so many different channels and so many different ways you can engage. Some of it's keeping the lights on, and some of it is like, for cravings specifically, it's building the brand in the social space, and also the ability to sell product in the social space. So, social, you can do so much with it, through the funnel. And it's been a growth area for us as an agency, as we hired this awesome director of social strategy, a woman named Erin, who came over from Best Buy, and she really knows her social shit, and she's been great. She's been fantastic for the agency and helping us grow that business across our clients.
Well, and listen, coming from Best Buy, yikes! I mean, that's competitive. That's
big
competitive.
Brand. Yeah,
yep.
She's done some great work there.
Yep, you had mentioned Norfolk Southern, so I want to dig into this a little bit. Tell us a little bit about this client and this work.
Massive website project. Obviously, Norfolk Southern, had a bit of a bumpy year last year,
right.
and they needed help, and they wanted to reorganize this website. It went from over 2,000 pages. That was fairly internally focused, I believe, and we did everything from UI and strategy and content development. I think we outsourced most of the dev, but we did 3 photo shoots across Atlanta, Charleston, and Chicago. And again, it was a massive project, you can imagine, under the pressure of some pretty tight deadlines. And it felt like an all-consuming project for so many people at the agency last year.
Right.
But it is a project that the agency is incredibly proud of, because the work is good, and it's some of the work that we've done in the transportation category, and it really is setting up the future for this organization and how they're going to market and how they're supporting their business on the web.
Yeah, I mean, and it is important to show up in a way that is meaningful. So I understand that.
Yeah, it was a big project. Again, like I said, it felt like it consumed a big part of the agency for a big part of the year last year. So we're really proud of, because it was intense.
I'm only laughing because I talk about the revised Think Northwest site.
Yeah,
so I can sympathize. And then, of course, we have the home team here, with Daimler, and that's been such. I have to say that brand has been such a meaningfully important part of the brand community in the Pacific Northwest for a very long time, and I don't want to say it sometimes becomes an afterthought, but it's like one of those things where you see its consistency. It's consistent investment in people. It's a consistent investment in this market, and they're an incredibly important brand, and quite frankly, a very forward-thinking brand that is very important
and changing the way this world moves. I mean, impacts everything that goes on in this world. But I think you're right. It's a cornerstone of the Portland market, and I think they're a little bit under the radar. I mean, they've got their sponsorships with the Blazers, their sponsorship with the Timbers, and I think that gives them some recognition. And but I think they're still a little bit under the radar. But they're an amazing company, and it's funny, as I've gotten onboarded to the business, and I've gotten to know the transportation category, the commercial trucking category a little bit more. I find myself driving up I-5 as a way to the office, sort of looking at the wheels of trucks to say, oh, is that a Freightliner? You begin to identify these brands based on their grills. And Freightliner is an incredible brand. Western Star, another incredible brand. Detroit sort of sits in the middle, and supports both. And Ryzen is, obviously the big trend in the category is to electric, and Daimler is leading the way. They're doing a lot of incredible work in that space. Ryzen was a partnership with Mitsubishi Fuso, a Japanese based company, I believe. And we created this brand from scratch last year. So we developed the logo.
Oh my God.
And they knew that they were going to build a Class 4, Class 5 electric truck.
Right.
And Daimler Truck was bringing it to market in North America. In fact, it's a big part of the work that we're doing in 2024 is we've done all the brand positioning, all the design work, all the messaging, and now we're working on communication strategy and planning that's going to put work into market to help sell these trucks. You can imagine the lead times on building these products, but there is a tremendous amount of energy around the electric truck category. Even in Portland, I think you'll see in downtown Portland more and more of these driving around. And do you drive an EV? Have you ever had this experience? It's pretty incredible.
No, and I think, and you'd mentioned class 4 or 5, right? So that is nerding out a little bit. So that is sort of that tweener category. It's not a small truck, it's not a huge truck, it's in between. The share of those types of trucks, people forget. Like when you go into New York City, that's what you're seeing.
Yep.
And you're seeing lots of them. You go into Chicago, that's what you're seeing. You go into any city, that's what you're seeing. And it accounts for a disproportionate number of vehicles on the road. So instead of, I mean, obviously everybody's working towards an electrified future, but for a brand to start in this size, in this category, it's a huge market, and it can be hugely impactful when you look at it in the cumulative.
That's right. Somebody literally, we were talking about this yesterday, and a gentleman on the team said to me yesterday, he said, if you start paying attention as you're around, to your point, as you're around town, to the amount of class 4 or 5 trucks that you see on the road, that will be all you will see. And you talk about downtown Portland, you talk about, again, emissions, and you talk about if there's none of that, it will make a significant difference in cities particularly.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's exciting, and that you built this from the ground up. That is cool. Yeah, it's really cool. I love the logo. I love the vibe. That's really good, and it looks universal too, because sometimes things can look a little abstract, but this is clean, clear, and I understand what the vocabulary is trying to get across here. So what else you got cooking? Tell us what's new. I mean, here's the thing about these check-ins. This is our first check-in with you, but when you land some new business or you got some new work coming out, we want to talk to you guys. So give us, I know that you can't divulge too much about things, but tell us what you got cooking coming up.
We look, in the short term, there's a couple of pieces of business that we brought on at the end of the year that we're really excited about. Can't, obviously, to your point, can't talk too much about it. But near term is really about getting these wins off the ground, MSAs, scopes of work, all that kind of stuff, onboarding clients, and then focusing on delivering the best work that we can do. We also ended the year with 3 new business pitches that we are in at the moment. So the agency's cooking. There's a lot going on at the agency as we turn the corner into 2024. The agency also, just as I mentioned earlier, now in Madison, Wisconsin, just acquired a new agency. So the agency is in growth mode, which I think is, one of the questions you would ask me is what is inspiring us?
Right.
I think, there's this foot on the gas pedal mentality about this place that I think inspires the people that work here. There is I think the focus on growth inspires confidence that the agency is going somewhere and growing and is doing well. And so that was one of the things that I was really drawn to when I decided to make the move to come over to Broadhead is the ambition of the organization. And you see it in practice again, where it feels like we're pitching all the time.
Right.
Long term, for myself personally, I'm really focused on exposure for Broadhead, which is, this call is great. I really appreciate you doing this and looking to establish Broadhead as one of the leading agencies here in the Pacific Northwest. I'm focused on trying to meet talent and bring in talent and delivering, just smart and effective work for our clients. It's funny when you think about this business, Doug, it's not that complicated, right? It's like you focus on people, talent, and the experience that you can provide, finding great brands and people to work with, and then you do your best work and you stay positive. Certainly it's volatile and there's ups and downs, but you stay positive through it all and you focus on what you can control. And, usually things work out.
I mean, right. They always do.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, we're going to leave this here. I can't thank you enough, number one, for your membership to Think Northwest. It's so great to have everybody on the team here, and it's been wonderful to meet, obviously your team in Portland, but the team from Minneapolis, and I'm sure we'll see Charlotte and Madison people. I can't get with supporting the University of Wisconsin in sports, though. So I'm just going to say straight up. So, you know,
you go to the U? Are you a Minnesota guy?
No, I didn't go to the U. I went to University of Denver. So no, I spent my middle school and high school years outside of Philly. So that explains a few things about me. But then I've been out here. Yeah. So I've been out here 32 years last week. Damn. So yeah, so I've been told that I'm now considered a native. So
are you prepared for Snowmageddon?
Snowmageddon, here we go. But Jaime, seriously, can't thank you and your team enough for your membership and your partnership and joining us on this mission for Think Northwest. I want you to hold on backstage and we'll get right back to you. But thanks for joining us. Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, Joe, I pushed the button too quick. So
I was just saying, appreciate you having us on. Thank you, Doug.
Hey, man. No, this isn't one and done. We're going to do this again sometime soon. So thank you. And we'll be back with you backstage. To all of you who are members of Think Northwest, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to put the broadhead pictures back up because they're so nice. Seriously, 2024 is going to be a great year for all of us here in the Pacific Northwest. We want to be part of that success for you. Go to ThinkNW.org. And again, you can reach out to me directly at Zanger, Zanger at ThinkNW.org. I want to thank Marmoset. And this isn't hashtag ad. We just like Marmoset. We want to support the Pacific Northwest. This cut coming from Track Club. Go to trackclub.com. Learn more about the great stuff that they have there, and also learn more about Marmoset Music. On behalf of everybody on the board at Think Northwest, on behalf of all of us, thank you so much. We'll see you next time.